What's good, you guys? Hope you guys are all having a good start to your week. How's everybody doing tonight? Just realized that the lighting looks a little bit funky right now. My bad. How's everybody doing? I hate this market. Yeah, EA. It's a little tough, but it's all right. All right. First off, I'll go ahead and go over the trades we took today. Nothing crazy. We ended up taking 3 trades. Red on the first, green on the second, and then pretty much break even on the third. Yeah, a little rough start to the week, to be honest with you. But last week we had a pretty much perfect week following a relatively rough week before that as well. And then before that week, we had basically a whole entire month of being green. So, or not a whole entire month, but you know, for the most part, we were green for 13 days straight, and then I think we had 1 or 2 red days before that, and then we had another like 11 days before that we were green every day straight. So overall, I mean, we're kind of due for some trash price action, which honestly today was not as bad as it could be by any means. I think we probably made the most out of it that we could for today, but yeah, we took AMD here. I ended up taking it off open here on this 932 candle. Got in right at 150. We actually had a really nice break here. And I was up pretty nicely on this as well, but ended up just getting bought back up immediately. Was waiting for us to come back down, and we ended up not seeing that. So I ended up having like I want to say like a 20-30 cent stop loss on this from my entry. So not too bad risk to reward wise, but I do know some people got filled pretty late on that, which definitely throws off your risk to reward there. But this is one of the few times that I actually got filled at a really, really nice fill. So yeah, that was the first trade for the day. Second trade for the day, we ended up catching this at the candle was it, I believe 946 candle. So right here, we ended up taking AMD 150 puts again. I was looking for the low of day break on this. We ended up coming down here, breaking back below 150 and consolidating. And in this consolidation, once we started to push up towards this 20 cent level on the 956 candle, I ended up taking profits on that and just getting out because we were in that consolidation there. And if we saw a break of that consolidation, I pretty much knew we were going to see at the very least, a quick pop against us that I just did not want to be a part of. And then on the final trade here, after we got this quick pop and got rejected once again, I ended up taking this right around 149.85, coming into this support here at 149.77. I sold half pretty much immediately on the break below 149.60, and then the other half I sold up here towards 150 as well. So like I said, first trade ended up being red, second trade was green, third trade between the first sell and the second sell ended up being pretty much break even on that. So a little bit of a back and forth day there. So that's when I decided to call it. I was like, you know what, if we're gonna just be sitting here going back and forth with the market, it's best to just walk away at this point. So not an ideal start to the week, but we gave it a shot and did what we could with the price action we were given on this. But tonight is the charting session, obviously, if you guys read the title and clicked on the video. So, or clicked on the stream, you guys already know what we're going to be doing. But we're going to go through my watch list from A to Z here, see what setups we've got for tomorrow and the remainder of the week. And at the end of that, we will assemble our watch list. So make sure you stick around. Let's see. First thing I do want to go over is the news for this week, though. We've got, or not even news for this week, but just news for tomorrow. Oh, we literally have no news tomorrow. That's great. No news. And then earnings, we have Oracle. And Oracle is the only thing on my watch list that has earnings this week. So that is good. Is Oracle, let's see. Oracle is after close, I believe. Yeah. Oracle's after close tomorrow. So not going to be able to look at Oracle until Wednesday. But so far here, wasn't seeing anything that I loved on Apple. AMD I actually still like to the downside because we do have this gap on the 1 year, 1 day. That gap is now from low of day today, which I believe was 149, yeah, 149.22. The gap is from 149.22 down to what? Down to 147.58. So we've got quite a bit of room on this. I'm gonna actually go ahead and leave this right here, but I'm gonna change the color and I'm going to change the style just so I know we've already broken that. This can go away. Actually, I'm gonna do the same thing with this too, because we still ended up respecting that. Even though we ended up breaking it beforehand, we still respected that level. But the gap is now from 149.22 down to 147.58. So I'll go ahead and mark AMD here as one to come back to. Amazon. If Amazon had a little bit more consistent price action, I would be way more willing to look at that, but I'm honestly not interested in Amazon there. AVGO, we are coming back for that earnings high at 357.19. I'm a big fan of that. I would even look at high of day from today for my first entry on this trade. So I do like AVGO a lot. I believe that's the all-time high as well. It is. Yeah, AVGO looks good. BA, I'm all good. Baidu. Baidu's interesting. Contract volume is not very good. But 112, man, on any other stock, this looks fantastic, and I would absolutely be paying a lot of attention to it. Only downside with this is that it's Baidu. So that'll probably go on the side watch just because it is a good enough setup that I still do want to look at it. I just don't really love the contracts on that stock. Even when they do have volume, they're still pretty wide spreads and pretty cheap. So that's not a great combination. Circle. You could look at this 108.02 low, but it's pretty far away right now. And we're going to have to get below that 4-hour trend first. So I think I'm going to pass on Circle. By the way, at any point throughout this, guys, if you have a stock that you want me to check out, make sure you throw it in the live chat over here. Let me know the stock. Let me know the level you want me to check out, and I'm more than happy to do so. CRWV. CRWV was actually really nice when we played this, and contracts, ooh, maybe not. I was gonna say contracts do have volume, but they are cheap, so I think that I will probably wait on a bigger setup for CRWV. DAL, nothing. DDOG, no contract volume at all. Disney doesn't look bad at the top of this consolidation break. Just every single time we've played Disney for probably the last like 4 or 5 times. Oh my God. This looks atrocious on the 30-minute. Wow. That, I don't think I've seen a more disgusting stock chart than this in quite a while. Look at that. Yeah, I think I'm good on Disney. I think I'm going to pass on that. Google finally didn't continue to just make new highs all day today. I would be down to play Google here soon, but I'm going to need to see a pullback on the larger time frames. Hood grinded its way all the way up to basically all-time high here today. So I'm definitely interested in that. 118.45. We were actually looking at Hood this morning, and literally first second of the first candle, it just ripped straight through. So there was nothing I could end up doing with that, which is a little unfortunate. And even if you would have tried to chase that, you would have got stopped out crazy on that as well. So good setup this morning, but just not the right price action for us to be able to take it. So hopefully it can redeem itself with the all-time high tomorrow. Interactive, man, this thing doesn't have volume other than around earnings, but the downside on that does not look bad. I just can't do anything with it. INTC breaking out of a 4-hour wedge. INTC actually has good contract volume, or had good contract volume today. I don't know that I love that enough to put it on a watch list though. Meta with the fake out this morning, or really actually not the fake out this morning, but fake out on the larger time frames. That was, once again, this was something we were looking at too. Meta and Hood both broke first second of the first candle and just made it completely unplayable for us. So not much for me to look at there. I don't even think I would look at downside on this until like 7:45 either, because even if we play the after hours low right now, we're just going to be going back into chop. So I don't trust that. Marvel, nope. Microsoft, nope. MSTR is just in a chop area right now as well. That's going to be the case for a decent amount of these, to be honest with you guys. MU at 133 looks really nice. Yeah, MU at 133 looks good. I do like that a lot. Let's see. I want to see this on the 1 year. Oh. All right. All right, all right. Yeah, that looks good. I mean, on the 4-hour, pretty much all we have to do is fill this. I say all we have to do, but this is a massive wick on the 4-hour. But once we end up filling that wick, I mean, that wick is really the only thing we've got here that would be holding us back from making a big move on the larger time frames. So yeah, I think MU has a lot of potential here. This looks good. NVIDIA, don't like it just based off the 4-hour, but yeah, that looks like a dangerous area to be messing with. Oracle has earnings, unfortunately. PLTR in consolidation, pretty big consolidation range actually, between 163 down to 148. But in that area, there's really nothing to do with it. PayPal in consolidation, Roblox in consolidation as well. 135.39 would be the first area I would look at Roblox. But even then, the contract volume is just garbage on it, so I don't even know that I would pay attention to it there either. Reddit. And really, the 220 puts is what had volume today. Opening at basically 246. That's a little crazy. Yeah, I don't think there's anything there for me. Jeez, I feel like we don't have hardly anything right now. We have like, what, 3 things? 4 things? I guess that's not bad. Not bad just for tomorrow, but I mean, for the rest of the week, that leaves us kind of empty. So we're basically going to be, we're going to need to create a new setup every day this week, pretty much. Because nothing is even relatively close. Like, it's close to happening tomorrow, but there's nothing that is close enough but far enough away to be looking at for the rest of the week. So everything that I've got, it's for tomorrow. Unless for some reason it just doesn't happen tomorrow, which honestly I kind of hope that's the case, because then that means we're not missing out on anything and we have something for the rest of the week. But Tesla low of day I would look at, just because of the fact that we sold off pretty aggressively today, and yeah, we've got a pretty decent amount of room down too. We're not really going into any super messy areas for a little while here, so we've got room down on Tesla. Yeah, I would give Tesla room, pretty easy room down to like 342.65-ish, around there. But all right, cool. We don't have an overly big watch list, but like I said, everything is pretty much ready for tomorrow. Unless it just doesn't happen, and then that's fine, and then we have some stuff left over for the rest of the week. But everything we're looking at, it's close enough that it should be able to happen tomorrow. So first off, AMD, I'm going to be looking at the 149.22 low of day, which starts a gap on the 1 year. We have room all the way to the bottom of this gap at 147.58. See if we have any trends that we can target. Right now we've got a 30-minute trend at 148.64. What did I say? 148.64. All right, AMD looking at the 149.22 low of day, which starts a gap on the 1 year, targeting a move to the 30-minute trend at 148.64. Overall, we have room all the way down the bottom of this gap at 147.58. Beautiful. All right, next up, AVGO. Ripped after earnings, making a new all-time high at 357.19. Looking at the 354.17 high of day from today, well, high of day from Monday for entry, targeting a break of the 357.19 all-time high. After this, we have easy room to the 360 break for my final target. Could end up being all right. AVGO ripped after earnings, making a new all-time high at 357.19. I'm looking at the 354.17 high of day from Monday today for my entry, targeting a break of the 357.19 all-time high. After this, we have easy room to the 360 break for my final target. This could end up being 2 separate trades depending on the momentum. I'm trying to write that out in the most summarized way possible, but do you guys all understand what I'm getting at there when I say that it could be 2 separate trades? I'm going to go ahead and take the no responses as a yes and call it good. Let's see here. Interesting. Okay. All right, Baidu, I'm looking at the 112 resistance for a breakout, targeting momentum into the 113 break. We've got multiple trends that are lining up at 116, so overall we should have easy room up to that area. My targets are going to be fully based on momentum after we get above 113, given that this stock can make huge moves, but it is all dependent on the volume here. So if we don't have the volume, if we don't have the momentum, then we're not going to be able to make a move. But if we get to 113 and we have still crazy volume, crazy momentum going on, Baidu really can rip. Baidu and BA are kind of the same. I mean, I like trading BA a little bit better because it used to at least have better volume and more consistent volume than Baidu. But they're kind of similar where when they're ready to make a move, they will make as crazy of a move as you can imagine, right? But it's all dependent on that volume. If there's no volume there, then you're not getting the move. But yeah, I think that's probably the best, easiest way for you guys to understand what I'm talking about with Baidu there. All right, hood, I'm going to be looking at the 118.45 all-time high for a breakout, targeting a move to the 120 break. Anything after that will be based off of momentum. That one's pretty easy. Hood really ripped today. I'm very surprised with how this thing moves. What did we open at? We opened at 110.63 within 7 minutes. We had already made a $3.50 move. I think we can pretty easily see a $1.60 move on this. I think we can pretty easily see that. So should be a pretty realistic target. We're not getting our hopes set too high there, but MU looking at 133. All right, MU looking at the 130. I don't know why I just wrote 113. 133 resistance for entry. Targeting a move to the 134 break. Above 134, we have nothing until we get up to the 137 resistance, which is the 180-day high. There's MU. And then last but not least here, we've got Tesla to the downside. Let's see. All right, Tesla looking at the 344.84 low of day. Playing this into the pre-market support from, hello, where is this? Thank you. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Playing this into the low day break from Friday at 344.68. Below this, I will be targeting the 343.70 pre-market support from Friday. All right. Down to all right, there we go. AMD is downside. AVGO is upside. Baidu upside. Hood upside. MU upside. And Tesla downside. All right, that's what I've got for tomorrow, and possibly the rest of the week, depending on how these play out. So make sure you go ahead and take a screenshot of that. If anybody has any questions about the watch list, feel free to ask. We do have quite a bit of time left here, so if you guys want to use this as a little Q&A, or if you want to, if you want me to go over anything else, just let me know. Happy to go over that. So if you're not in the floor, make sure you take a screenshot of that and keep it and plot those levels down and set alerts. And then when you get those, join the floor. Quick questions. What's up, Justin? One question rather. Mentioned I'm doing. You enter on 1 minute time frames. I do, Bianca. Wait, one trade per day. Do you think that'll affect the bottom line, or will percentages even out? What do you mean by the bottom line, Justin? I think you tried to summarize your question a little bit too much there. Give me 2 seconds here, so I can answer Justin's question once he rephrases this. But I'll show you my execution layout here in just a second. Okay, if I take one trade and lose, I'm done for the day. Whereas you guys take another. Do you think I'm hurting myself with this temporary rule, or do you think it'll ultimate? Oh, yeah, Justin. I think overall it's gonna be um it's gonna be the same probably overall in the bigger picture. I mean, the thing is, it still, no matter what you do, no matter how many trades you're taking in a day, it still always just boils down to your risk to reward. How much are you risking to make whatever? So it really doesn't matter if you take one trade a day, if you take 2 trades a day, 5 trades a day. I mean, if you're entering everything with a relatively decent win rate, and I say relatively decent, I mean above 50%. Anything above 50% with a solid risk to reward, it's going to be the same regardless. Now, I don't know that you would be maximizing your profits doing it that way, but overall, you'll still be profitable as long as you have a win rate that is better than 50% and you have solid risk to reward on your trades. So that would be my thing. I mean, it doesn't matter how many trades you're taking in a day. Like I said, if you have above a 50% win rate and a risk to reward that makes sense, at least 1-to-1, you're going to be profitable. So, yeah, I don't know. As far as like maximizing your profits, probably not the best way to do that, but it's not going to ruin you as a trader. I mean, I think a lot of the times if we're red, unless it was just poor execution, which typically it's not, a lot of the times when we're red, the market's pretty trash anyways. So we're just like, we're kind of hunting to see if there's anything we can take a little slice off of, you know? So usually when we're red, or if you're red and it's not because of your execution, you're hunting for crumbs, you know? So it's really probably not worth the risk for most people anyways. Why do you like to wait for a candle to go from red to green before you enter? Ray, because that is a momentum candle. If I see a red to green or a green to red candle, that is a sign of momentum. Seems that some of the best pops are directly at open. Yeah, some of the best fake outs are also directly at open. Look at Tesla today. I guess that was the 5-minute. But either way. I mean, yeah, we went from high of day back to low of day, breaking low of day, and then almost back to high of day within a 4-minute time frame. So unless I see, and also, especially off open, super, super indecisive price action. So unless I see something that can show me, like, with a red to green, for example, it's showing me that the sellers have at least tried. The buyers just took them back over and were way stronger, right? The sellers at least tried. Now, if I just see all buying, I don't even get to see what happens when the sellers do try, because if the sellers do try and they are aggressive, they're going to flip that candle. I mean, they're going to flip that candle and make it a green to red candle. I mean, that's the main thing is I want to see that the other party that's going against me, I want to see that they at least tried before my side takes it over. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, Friday we just had a ton of potential here, and we got the red to green. We got the red to green on Friday. We didn't get the red to green today on anything. We just got straight green. Okay, sorry, Bianca, I'm going back up here to show you the execution layout right here. So this is the chart that I'm looking at when I'm executing. It is 3 different time frames of the same stock, so I'm able to focus on multiple time frames at once without having to switch back and forth. So typically, actually not typically, I always have the top left up here as my 1 minute chart, and this is the chart that I'm paying attention to when I'm executing. If you look at the screen directly to the left of me, which you can't, this is where my execution screen is, where I'm actually clicking the buy and sell buttons. So my buy and sell buttons, my level 2, my 1 minute chart, my volume, my time and sales, and NQ, and then on this screen, ES and NQ are all directly next to each other. So I can be looking at one thing, looking at a different thing, and be seeing everything that I need to see in my peripherals. Now, I also keep in the middle chart, I will either have the 5 minute or the 15 minute pulled up, and then on the far right chart, I will typically have the 30 minute or 1 hour pulled up, unless there is a trend on the 4 hour, or if there's a big level on the 4 hour that I need to be looking at, then I'll switch that to a different time frame. But typically it's the 5 minute or 15 minute in the middle, and then the 30 minute or 1 hour on the right side. And then I have NQ down here at the bottom left behind my face right here. I've also got level 2 pulled up on TOS as well, and that is the screen that I'm looking at when I'm executing. And then I see Austin's question right after that. Austin, watch the video on my channel going over my Thinkorswim setup, and that is the fastest way. Do I pay any attention to my P&L? Yes, I do. I used to think that it was like a sin to pay attention to my P&L, but I do pay attention to my P&L. It's not the driving factor behind my trade, but I definitely want to see how much I'm up or down. The problem is when you only pay attention to your P&L. That is where the problem is. Now, when I say I pay attention to my P&L, 99% of my focus is exactly where I need it to be. This is my paying attention to my P&L. That's all it is. Once every now and again throughout a trade. That's it. So it's not, I mean, if I was just glued into my P&L the whole time, that's a different story. I'm not going to be paying attention to really anything that matters there. But yes, I do. Yeah, Austin. So just watch that video. I'm going to see if I can link it here. I don't know how to do that. I don't know if you can do that. Can you link a video in live chat? Give me a second. I'm about to figure out if I can or not. Let's see. Can you click on that? You can click on that. Look at me go. Absolute tech genius right here. Actually, hold on. There we go. What makes me nervous? I tend to jump or get a little nervous when I reach a certain dollar amount. Yeah, I mean, that's something that you can get over once you've done it enough. I mean, I guess I don't really know the turning point where I just didn't really care about that. I mean, it kind of comes with time, but also it comes with your skill level of reading price action and knowing yourself and knowing how you react in certain situations. I mean, there's a lot of things that come into factor there, but either way, one of the simplest ways that I can say that is your P&L has nothing to do with what the market is doing. The market does not care how much you're up or down. So there's no point on relying on your P&L to tell you what you need to be doing in a trade. Today, somehow selling my contracts got rejected because the price of the contracts were lower than what I bought in for. Yeah, Austin, you keep trying to execute limit orders. How do you decide on which contract you choose? Do you go based on the delta? No, Bianca. I actually go based off of the volume and the spreads and the price that I prefer to play contracts at. So The contracts that I really like to play are anywhere between like $300 to $800 a contract. Those are my favorite contracts to play. So if I have a stock that I'm looking at where all of them have really good volume, I'm typically going to be going right at the money. And that's usually smack in the middle of that range. For stuff like Tesla or Meta, now stuff that's a little cheaper like AMD, it's going to be closer to the bottom of that range. But typically I'm looking to play as close to in the money as possible. And I pretty much always play the $5 increments unless it's a Friday and contracts are just so cheap that I would have to go for a $2.50 increment. But yeah, I'm typically playing $5 increments as close to in the money as possible. So as long as they have good volume and decent spreads. You ever stop out before actually hitting your stop? I got out of AMD early today because I felt like I saw the writing. Yeah, Justin, I do. On that one, I didn't because I had a really good entry on that. So I was kind of just letting it play out. Also, it's a little bit of a different story whenever you are just worried about you, you know? So there's some things that I do differently that I wouldn't do all the time if I was just worried about me. But yes, sometimes I do. And usually, I mean, my actual stop loss is usually in the red, right? So when I move a stop loss to break even, or when I move a stop loss to the point where I'm still going to be green in that trade, that is my new actual stop loss. So that would be me stopping out before my original planned stop loss, but it still is my stop loss on the trade. So you probably don't recognize when I do that on mic just because I call it my stop loss. But yeah, I mean, that's basically when I adjust my stop, that's me stopping out before I hit my stop, my original stop. But yeah, I mean, if you can read price action and you can see a bunch of red flags, then it's usually a pretty good time to get out of the trade. Just if I have a good enough average on a trade and I know that there is still at least a 50% probability that we're going to play out, I'm not going to cut myself short and completely remove myself from that trade if I know I have a good average and we still have a 50% or more probability of seeing this trade play out. Oh, no, you're not. You're not, Justin. Anything you can do to make your risk to reward even better, there's nothing wrong with that. The things that are bad is when people take profits way too early and keep their stop loss exactly the same as it always is. That's the problem. And so the easiest way to go about that is making sure that you have at least a 1-to-1 risk to reward on the trades that you're taking. And not letting that slip past. And when people look at it that way, it's a little bit easier for them to understand, okay, that's all I have to do to stay consistent. I mean, I say that like it's super easy, but you know, it really is all you have to do. You just have to get a lot of things mastered before you can really comfortably get to that point where you are keeping everything not emotional and you're just making calculated decisions. Does it get easier the more you do it? I would say so, Justin. I would say so. It also helps. It also helps hearing multiple different perspectives as well. So, you know, you hear me, you hear Nikita, you hear your own perspectives, and so that can help your screen time and your experience level faster than it would if you were just completely on your own. But yes, I think regardless, as long as you're not literally just gambling on a stock chart, regardless, it is going to get easier with time. Just because there's more things you're going to start to understand, and it's going to be less emotionally taxing on you, mentally taxing. So then, really, all you have to do is just focus on the things you need to focus on, which really doesn't feel like that much when you've been doing it every day for years and years and years. So, yeah, I would say so for sure, Justin. That's what I'm learning about myself. The psychology is so hard. I experience new psychological challenges every month that I have to adapt to. Absolutely, Justin. And you're still pretty early into this. Still pretty early into this, and you're doing really good for, especially for the amount of time you've been at it. So you're definitely advancing way quicker than I did when I first started. Which is the whole goal. I mean, that really is the whole goal of everything we're doing. But yeah. Sweet, guys. I'm going to pull up the watch list one more time here. Make sure you guys take a screenshot of this. Plot these out on your charts. Save these. And, oh, my bad. And yeah, if you're not in the floor and you want to trade with us, click that first link in the description. And prices are rising soon. So if you guys want to be grandfathered in to the current price that we're at right now, join up. And if you don't like it, leave. But yeah, when you say 1-to-1 win-to-loss ratio, are you saying if I buy in with 1,000 the goal? No. Austin, 1-to-1 means you're risking $1 to make $1. Right? So bare minimum 1-to-1. Yes, exactly. When I say bare minimum 1-to-1, that means if you're looking to make $100, the absolute max that you can risk is $100. Yes, Justin, it does. That's what I'm saying. Everybody that's at whatever price you're at right now, you're grandfathered into that price. So as long as you're in the floor, you are staying at that price. You guys are not going to get bumped up, but the price overall will be raising soon. So if you guys want in, you're going to be locked in at the current price. All right, let's see here. Tomorrow's launch at everyone. There we go. All right, watch list is in the floor. So yeah, once again, make sure if you're not in there, screenshot this, use it. If you want to join the floor, once again, first link in the description here. Prices are raising soon, so get it while it's cheap is all I can say there. But I appreciate you guys sticking around. I hope you guys have a good rest of your night, and I will see you first thing in the morning.